So today we just want to, first and foremost, this is Nadra. I don't know if you'd want to introduce yourself a little so we can get a more detailed information about your lovely self, who you are, what you represent, and the impact you have in the society and the environment at large.
Yeah, so about me personally, related to wellness, one thing about me is I love practicing yoga, and so I've been practicing yoga for about 12 years now. But it really is only this year where I started to expand my practice to include meditation and mindfulness. Especially now that I'm starting been doing my yoga teacher training, I've learned how meditation is a part of yoga, and so this is how I really fully embrace practicing meditation and hence practicing mindfulness. I've also started to learn to appreciate the stillness in the midst of my busy days. I used to find stillness boring, but even in a yoga class where you're just sitting there, I know you just sitting there, just like, oh, sitting here not doing anything, it's so boring.
Anything.
But
Yeah.
exactly. But now I appreciate it more, and I even go to those slower yoga classes. It's called Yin. For me, I love practicing yoga, and I've been
Mm,
practicing it for 12 years. But only
mm,
this year, I started to expand my practice to include meditation and mindfulness, especially since I've been doing my yoga teacher training and learning that meditation is a part of practicing yoga as a whole. So I started to really increase my meditation practices, practicing twice a day, also in the hopes of cultivating more mindfulness.
mm.
And so far, mindfulness has especially helped me with my eating habits because I used to eat too much until my stomach hurts.
Oh.
And yeah, yeah, exactly. You know how people say there's always room for dessert. That apparently
Mm.
doesn't apply to me. And then eat too much, and then stomach hurts. At least I know that it's because my stomach hurts. So the mindfulness helped me listen to my body more,
Mm,
and just listen to my body more and stop eating just before I get full. And so
mm,
I get less stomach aches.
mm,
So that was how mindfulness helped me with my eating habits. It's not to say disordered eating, but it just
mm,
helped me get less stomach aches. The other one it's helped me is, relating to the topic of this call,
mm.
identifying stress and burnouts. Because I did get slightly burnout earlier this year at work, and the mindfulness did help me realize what was going on in my body. I was getting agitated easily, and it was starting to take a toll. I was like, what's going on with me? Why am I like this? And then the mindfulness helped put into perspective that, oh, I am just stressed. I've been working a lot. When was the last time I had a holiday? Because I hadn't had a holiday in 6 months.
Mm.
So it was about time to go on holiday, which helped, a break from work. So that was how it helped me this year. Although this was a time where I had burnout and I went on holiday, it helped. But I think 2 years ago, so this employment, which is how I met you, right? Is my
Mm,
third job, right? Before I
mm,
joined this one, I was in my second job, which I was getting a bit more burnt out. And this is where it helps to have a supportive manager, because my manager in my second job, he was not supportive. And I said, I'm tired. I can't keep working long hours for very little return. And all they said was, this is how it's going to be.
mhm.
They were at least upfront and said, oh, nothing's going to change. You just have to deal with it. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm out of here. I moved. So I moved to this employment now in which I have a more supportive manager, and I was able to voice out saying, I'm feeling a little too tired. Um, the workload is getting too much. Please, can we do something? I can still go on a break, but let's help manage. And so my manager was very helpful in managing my workload and expectations to help me feel less stressed. But it does all start with mindfulness,
Mm.
helping you identify what you're feeling in your body. I learned mindfulness, it really is the difference between telling yourself, I am an anxious person. But with mindfulness, you tell yourself, no, I just have anxiety.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, see the vast difference, you know. So To practice mindfulness, you normally practice it in meditation or even in breathwork practices. Actually, I'm venturing more into the discussion, but that is my summary of me,
Mm.
my experience with mindfulness.
It's really what it is. And just as you said, mindfulness, being where you are at the moment, fully with whatever you're going through. Is either you are surrendering to where you are totally, or you're making an attempt to change how you think about yourself at that moment, because it all boils down to the mental chatters we have in our head, being satisfied with no matter the situation you find yourself, whether good or bad, whether constructive or destructive, wherever you find yourself, accept the moment as it is. And so it's all
Yeah.
connected to your experience, which for me, mindfulness, I just started hearing about mindfulness, reading about it, started practicing and working towards being in touch with myself, because that is what it is. When you talk about mindfulness, is how your totality, how you function every day, how you go about using your mind, how you think, how you feel, how you eat, when to talk, how to talk, how to relate, how you walk, how you sit down. It's all of this, even your sitting position, all of these things are, embedded inside the mindfulness, understanding yourself. And, because when I started meditating, it felt like I was after solution. I wanted to see results. It
Yeah.
felt like what I was doing, was it going to have any impact in my life? I needed to see something. But somehow I started exposing myself to books, started exposing myself to so many spiritual practices, and I started seeing changes over time. It didn't just happen. It wasn't magic.
Yeah.
I can remember in 2017 was when I got in touch with all of this, and I can say between then and now, something has changed. I don't need anybody to tell me about it. I don't need any organization on any soul to tell me about it. I just know something has changed within me. And it's so funny that this change can only occur inside of you. So people who know you before now will be looking at you like the you they already know before, not knowing that something has happened, something has changed. And it's not something I can explain to you. It's only felt. There's a lot that has happened. We learn how to emotionally regulate how we feel. How these emotions come, how we feel in our daily activities, habits, moods, behaviors, how you deal with people, how you deal with family, and first and foremost, how you deal with yourself. Because when people you see around yourself and people we see around ourselves are a reflection of what we are. So I usually say this, there's this analogy, I say that I am you in the guise of another person. You are me in the guise of another person. It's just same. We are all partakers of one mind. So, and you see the word mind, you see the word mindfulness, you see the word fullness. It's transformational. It's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Totally resonate with what you said. It's a journey to reach mindfulness. It does take a lot, but the important thing is to not give up. But with like consistent practice, you will get there. Even I don't think I've even fully hit full mindfulness, but I still maintain my practice. Yeah, it's a bit hard. I still overeat. I overeat a few weeks ago actually on holiday. And so,
Yeah.
but
The interesting thing is you find yourself doing it. You admit you are doing it.
Yeah,
Because
that's exactly.
most people don't even know that. Okay, just for instance, we set boundaries. You start a new year with a New Year's resolution, and just in 2 weeks into the new year, you're already going back to the things you said you're not going to do. One thing is, I caught myself doing it, realizing that you are responsible for everything that happens. So you are responsible when you fail yourself. and you are also responsible for the solutions that are supposed to come out of it.
When I was on holiday a few weeks ago, I read the Mindfulness book by Thich Nhat Hanh. Yeah, right. So I like how people say like he literally invented the word mindfulness, Thich Nhat Hanh, right? And so it was it's also quite an easy book to read. I do recommend it as for people who want to get into
Very
mindfulness.
easy.
Yeah, it's very easy, and it's not that thick. It's actually very thin. One thing he points is how he gets comments that people say it's hard. Mindfulness is so new to them. But what he pointed out is if you're being focused at work, you are focused while driving, that is already a form of mindfulness. So actually we subtly do practice mindfulness here and there. The hard part, I guess, is when you're sitting there and meditating. You have to be mindful, but your head is always buzzing. That is probably the harder part of mindfulness.
Yes. Because from my personal experience, when I sit and cross-legged and meditating, that is actually when the thoughts of the mind seems to become so loud. So what do? I've come to the point where I just watch. I don't identify with them. I just watch them go by like clouds. You see how clouds move slowly. You just watch them, but do not identify with them. That's a lot of energy. That is a lot of hard work. You understand? So how do I do this? So what I usually do, because I find out that most of the time during the days, most of our days, our attention is usually on this part. Yes, it is our brain. It is our divine brain. But because of the polarities, I don't know if you have the knowledge about the positive side of the brain and the negative side of the brain, the right and the left. Yes. So what I usually do, I just bring my attention to my heart area, because when I do that, there seems to be a more centered approach to how you deal with this. This calms down just by putting my attention in the center of my heart. It's interesting. It's not something I want to explain. It's not something I want to explain for somebody to understand. You just have to feel it to know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
center of your head.
These days, a lot of stress in town, a lot of stress in families, a lot of stress in everywhere you go. You just see stress. You see people stressed out. You see people burnt out, not even knowing how to regulate, not even knowing when to pause or how to include those moments of pause. You can see sometimes when you're actually doing something and you're stressed, and what happens, the body just calms down and takes a deep breath. Automatically it happens. You see the intention of the body, because of burnout, we are responsible for, to just bring calm. But most of us are not even aware of these things. Imagine when you are aware of these things happening, you now begin to work with the body. Conscious breathing, conscious thinking, conscious feeling, conscious ways of doing things, your relationship, the way you talk to your boss, the way you talk to your colleagues, the way you talk to your siblings, families. So you see, it's important and it's interesting and it is possible. Interesting.
Just sitting here absorbing what you said, it's really coming in how mindfulness helps us tap more inward and encouraging us to take better care of ourselves. Mindfulness is self-care. Yes.
So about stillness, do you have any insights to how stillness? I know we talked about another topic was science of stillness.
My experience with stillness is, I used to find stillness very boring, isn't it? It's like, I started off doing stillness in yoga. I went to a class called Yin Yoga. This is where you just hold the pose for 5 minutes. So I sit there and it was boring when I found it. And you sit there, you're stretching, holding it for 5 minutes, listening to a teacher talk. And I found it boring. I went to one 2 years ago. I didn't want to come back because I said boring. But actually this year, after embracing like meditation and mindfulness, I learned to appreciate the stillness a bit more. So I actually have gone back to Yin Yoga. And I find it a great compliment to like the activeness that I do. You're like literally yin and yang. So yin is to complement the yang you do in your life. So I go back to yin and I embrace it more. So I appreciate the stillness more. I've also increased my reading this year. And so this month I found myself reading 3 books.
Wow.
I'm reading 3 books, exactly. And if you think about it, reading is also a form of mindfulness practice.
Yes, true.
Yeah, you absorb the book by sitting there and just reading, and that is stillness and mindfulness. So reading is a great way to also cultivate mindfulness.
Yeah, so when I started reading, still when I came across mindfulness was when I started going into books. It used to take me about 1 month to read a page.
Wow.
Just one page. What happens there? My brain wasn't trained to read at that moment. It felt like the moment I pick up the book to read, all the thoughts starts popping up. You want to get something done. You know how chatters of thoughts of, a lot of them keep popping up and popping up and popping up, and I find myself wanting to sleep, but I insisted and I kept the practice. And in a year, I was able to read a lot of books. It wasn't easy. It's a lot of energy. When I see people who read books, like, I used to think it wasn't important until I started reading, and I realized that it takes a whole lot of energy to pick up a book to read. And this is what is missing in our society. He said, if you want to hide information or solutions from people, put it in books, because people would not want to go there to the pages of the books to read.
Put my secrets in books. I've picked up this tip where I take a book with me. This is what I'm currently reading, actually. Did you read it?
I've seen this book somewhere.
It's recommended as a summer book. So it's talking about a person who's walking along the countryside. So it's all about being in the countryside. So I've been reading this, and then I think the tip I picked up is I bring a book with me everywhere. Like when I'm going to town, I put a small book in my handbag, and so wherever I'm waiting, if I'm waiting for the bus, open the book, read while waiting. Exactly. When I'm in the cafe waiting for my coffee, open my book, read. And be surprised how much you pick up from reading. From just waiting and reading a book. Time flies as well. So, yeah.
True. That's interesting. We have 4 minutes less, and I don't know if we can just do a minute mindfulness practice or breathing practice. I don't know if it's okay by you. Together we do it, I'll do it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is more like a closure. So we just relax into the chair, the couch you're sitting in, and get really very comfortable. And we just start from the spine. The moment you mention the part of the body, you see attention seems to go there. When you say the spine, that's the back, center of the body, the back. Bring our attention to the spine, to the whole body, the inside of the body. We relax inside our body and feel comfortable inside our body. While inside our bodies, we can feel the pulse. The pulse is divine. It might not be as loud, but we can feel the pulsating, the feel of the body. We can take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Thank you very much. You can open your eyes. Thank you. Sometimes when you do these things, if you feel like you expect to see something immediately happen, you don't know that a lot has taken place just by doing this little. Thank you very much, Nadra. I appreciate this. Taking time out of your busy schedule to give us 30 minutes. We appreciate. All right. You have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Speak to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.